we're going to start with a cheers this podcast because we already poured our wine.
We did.
So we can't start by pouring.
And then we're pretending that this is like some sort of special effect, but it's actually because we forgot.
Yeah.
And then we poured the wine because we just really wanted to drink it, and then we're like, oh, fuck.
Yeah.
We could make the noise by tipping the wine into each other's glasses.
No, don't. No. Okay, and the reason we're not going to do that is because this week we are in bed.
You're not allowed to say that.
No.
Well, God forbid that we do anything even remotely normal, like be in bed or wear clothes or
I know, right?
or have breasts or wear long hair or whatever.
I know, yeah. Fuck me.
I'm a bit.
Oh, don't say that either.
No, you're not.
That's
allowed to say
porn.
That. Yeah, everything's porn.
I'd like to see their reaction if they saw actual porn.
I know.
I think they'd have a heart attack.
Although we're both me and you both anti-porn.
Of
We've
course.
done a whole podcast on the fact that we're
anti-porn. We are
anti-porn.
anti-porn, but comparing like
I know.
me and you giving each other a kiss and a peck on the lips to porn is quite.
It's a bit of a reach.
It's fucking disgusting considering people like Mia Khalifa and all these porn stars who have like survived, and I use that term loosely, the sex trade. Being compared to that is just disgusting. Like, as in, it's disgusting for them to compare that struggle to me and you having a kiss.
Yeah, I know.
Anyway.
Not to get into that. We're not going to get into that shit at all. We are going to talk about female success.
Yes, we are.
And the way that we pathologise women's success, and we have issues with women's success, and so on. So for those of you who haven't listened to us before, welcome to the Wandering Womb podcast. I'm Jess, and this is Jaimi.
Hello.
And we've been told off this week, haven't we? Because we haven't made a bloody podcast fast enough.
I know.
The first person to tell us off was my mum.
Yeah.
Mum messaged us and was like, where's your podcast? Like, she's like a fucking manager
So
now.
I thought it was out on Wednesdays.
Yeah, and we were
Well,
like, sorry.
Deborah.
Sorry, I wasn't very well, and obviously I'm not going to drink if I'm not well. And the point of the podcast is that we have a drink and have a chat.
Yeah.
So Mum was like, right, well... And then she wouldn't drop it. And, like, every day she's messaged or rang me and been like, so you're going to be recording a podcast
Yeah, and then my mum started as well.
Yeah, and then we got, like, people tweeting us being like, excuse me, there's no podcast up. Like, fucking hell. So, yeah, we're very sorry.
I'm glad that people are liking it and enjoying it, though. That's really good.
Two of those people were our
Two
mums.
of those people are our mums, and the others are friends.
That's it, right, yeah. So.
Shout out to our 4 fans.
Yeah,
Oh.
50% of those are our mothers. No, that's not true. You know, so I checked the stats and we've had 14,000 downloads of the podcast. We are on, funnily enough, episode 14. Because because we put up episode version 13 version 2 because we've not been able to release episode 13 yet because we need to edit out some serious shit on the Mums podcast where we interviewed our mums. And don't get me wrong, it's not got anything bad like that we need to edit out of it, but we just need to be careful because when you listen through it, because we're so fucking wankered, we're not like...
Day drinking with the mums.
Yeah, we're not like protecting names or like being careful or, you know...
Making sense.
Or using real words. So yeah.
I started talking about deer.
Yeah, you did.
Got mixed up between a place name and a deer.
So yeah, we need to do a little bit more editing on that one, but I promise it'll come out because it's amazing that we got to interview our mums.
Yeah, for sure.
So yeah, we're going to be focusing on female success.
Yeah.
We've got some questions to answer and to discuss. And yeah, it's just a really interesting topic, I think, and it's something that we've talked about quite a bit recently, and then I've talked to a couple of friends about it recently, like women that are doing really well.
Yeah.
And they just find themselves at the centre of just so much hatred, and they just never saw it coming.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest, like that's how I feel. Like you work hard and then you do well in life, and the last thing you expect when you get to that place where you're like, oh, thank fuck, I'm finally okay, and I've worked dead hard and I've got my education and I've sorted myself out. You don't expect then people to be like really fucking angry at you. And it comes a bit of a shock. So, like, the women that I've spoken to in the last couple of weeks, that's how it feels for them as well, in completely different, lives and backgrounds and fields of work. So we're going to talk about that. So the first question that's here is, what do you think the perception is of a successful woman or successful women?
She's a successful woman. I think just if someone was to just say to me, oh yeah, she's a very successful woman, in comparison to, yeah, he's a very successful man, and this is my own sort of first thoughts and reactions, is I think a lot more shallow about it. So I literally imagine a woman in a business suit, and quite like a strong woman in a business suit,
like those women,
and she's a businesswoman, because if a woman's successful, she's a businesswoman. Oh, what are you? You're a businesswoman.
Yeah, and she looks like those
Whereas
women on life insurance adverts that just like not life insurance, on accident and injury claim
no, I think bigger
where
than
it's
that.
a woman in a suit and she's like walking diagonally towards the screen holding a briefcase, being like, "Have you been injured recently?"
Whereas men, I think of like it's still men in suits, to be fair, but I do think deeper about, I would think like, oh, maybe he designs cars, or maybe he's an engineer.
That's
or
still
maybe
really
he
gender role stereotype.
He owns yeah, it is actually, and it's something that even as feminists we have to challenge these stereotypes in ourselves. I think, oh, maybe he, is a head of a company that does this, but it is quite gendered, I would say.
Yeah, for sure. And then interestingly, I think, and obviously this might make a few people uncomfortable, but like, you have to be aware of your own racism, is that you probably think of white people. Like,
right. So I did, but then immediately I thought of just a white woman, and then I thought about Michelle Obama.
Yeah. But it's like, I think that when you talk about success and being rich and stuff, the first thing that will kick out in your brain is white privilege, usually.
Yeah, for sure. I'm really glad you've said that, actually.
And
because
images of whiteness.
That's exactly what I thought about.
Yeah. And I think you have to be aware of that. But yeah, so like do you know what came up when I asked you that question?
What?
The first thing that came up for me, and it's really misogynistic, it's not that I think it's that I've just seen it get thrown about a lot. When you get a really successful woman, is that really misogynistic? Like, who did she sleep with to get where she is? And like, I've heard that so many times in my life, where it's, oh, she's probably shagging the director, or she's like, or the other one is like basically that she's almost like a man, and that's how she got to that level of success, because she's so masculine. Like the way people talk about Margaret Thatcher and Theresa May, and obviously they're both from political ideologies that I don't align with at all, but it's interesting how people discuss them in masculine terms, because the only way women could be in charge of a country would be if they act like men.
But their politics, right-wing politics, is more aligned with masculinity.
Yeah, it is.
Whereas when you think of female leaders in other countries, like Jacinda Ardern, people think of her in more of a nurturing way, because she's more left-wing, and her approach to leading the country has been more, human-centred.
Yeah, but I think when you think of successful women, I think there's still a lot of masculinity and stereotype, male gender role stereotypes around the woman and why she's a success. And they'll say things like, she's very logical, she's ruthless, she's emotionless, she's hard, she's go-getting, she's ambitious. And they're words that unfortunately align with gender role stereotypes of men, not women.
Because we think that it's very multi-layered, but we think that we associate good things with masculinity.
Yeah, absolutely. And then weakness
and
is femininity.
and we value it. We value masculine traits over feminine traits.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's also a perception of successful women that if you're successful or if you're or what you get called a career woman, then that must mean that you're single or you have no kids, you have no interest in family, you're not family oriented at all, and that you're sort of like almost like narcissistic and selfish, and that you just put yourself in front of everybody and everything, and that's how you got successful. Which is interesting. But every film
is like that, about like every film where a woman works hard and like works hard for a family, they always position her as this like, oh, you don't spend enough time with your kids.
Yeah, oh my god, that's so true.
Whereas no man is ever positioned as not spending enough time with his kids when he's like working hard. And like
that's so true. Like if you think about films where the man is like, let's say he's this like bloody, I don't know, like really high flying, I don't know, lawyer or CEO, he's always positioned in the film as like going home to his loving children who run up to him at the door and they're like, Daddy, oh, you've been at work all day, look, I drew you a picture of a dinosaur. And then like the kids are like, yay. And like, whereas when women are shown to be this like high flying lawyer, for example, or a CEO, it's
the
like,
dad is there and he's like Mardy because he's doing all the work.
He's like, oh, you're never here, and like you just put yourself first all the time, and the kids are like, Mom, you're never here for us, and like that's the whole plot. It's like it's so fucking two-dimensional. Yeah, that's so true. That's so true. I think that really has an impact on people, because I know that if you go back and look at all of the films that I definitely grew up on watching, like in the early 90s, most successful women are depicted as selfish, fucking awful mothers, and that it makes you sort of. The other thing that happens is that it's positioned as a choice. You're either a mum or a success. Yeah. And that like that, and that's pretty much your path as a woman. Do you know what I mean?
It's more that, I mean, there are definite struggles, like for a woman to balance, you know, having a family and also a career because of what's expected of her. Yeah. But I forgot where I was going with that.
But is it possible that we deliberately created a narrative where women can either be nurturers and caregivers or hard-faced successes that don't care about anyone else? Yeah. And you're one or the other. And then like when you're both, people are like, what the fuck? Yeah. Like, how can you be a mother and have a career? What the fuck?
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
Why? Go on.
Oh, I was going to ask the next question.
Yeah, go on then.
So, why do we have an issue with successful women?
Why do we have an issue with successful women?
That's what the question says.
I think because it books the stereotypes. So it's gender non-conforming, unfortunately, because as you said, we associate success and good things with masculinity. I think it challenges a lot of societal norms to be like a successful woman, if that makes sense. That's that realm of the world, I guess, is like reserved for men. I think that, like we just said, this question feeds into a lot of what we just talked about. I think it makes women out to be selfish and narcissistic. And so when a woman is successful, we associate really negative traits with her. What do you think?
I think that it makes people feel uncomfortable, ultimately, because you've got this person who is a woman, and whether you care to admit it or not, it is harder for women to be successful. And not only is she being successful, but that's reminding you, for a lot of people, that you're not. And it's either challenging them and thinking, oh shit, I've got competition, or she's way ahead of you and you're thinking, like, one part of people, they think, oh look, she's like worse off than me and she's doing better than me, or they would just rather deny that you're doing better than them.
We've had this discussion before though, haven't we, about like, I guess, what people's reactions are to successful women. And honestly, and I think this is really important that you like continually reflect on yourself as you grow up. If I was much younger, and so like if I was doing this exact conversation at like between 16 and 18, I reckon, or 16 to 19, and we were talking about successful women, I would be a lot more jealous and salty. And I just grew out of it over a period of time where my mindset changed from looking at successful women and being like, bitch, which is obviously not, like, this is something that I had to challenge as I grew up, not to use misogynistic slurs and not to see women like that. When you're.
I just fancied them.
But then I got to the point where, as I would say into my into my 20s and in my early 20s, where I would see successful women and think, oh my God, she's amazing. Like, that's amazing that she's done that. So that wouldn't matter if she was like a fucking pro fucking ice skater or whether she'd set up a multi-million-pound business or whatever. Like, if she was a success in whatever it was that she did, whether she was a poet or, whether she was a YouTuber, it wouldn't make any difference to me. As I got older, I was much more inclined to be like, wow, look how hard she's worked. That's fucking crazy. And then I'd be like, wow, I wish I could do that one day. And the jealousy just disappeared as I aged, and it's still never come back. And I can't explain why, because I don't really know. And I can definitely tell you it's not something I worked on. It's not like something I had to actively be like, God, Jess, this is really unhealthy. It just went away at some point when I grew up.
I just always wanted to just be like them or be their friend. Like, when I was really little, I was like, oh, I hope I'm like her when I'm older. Like, oh, I wonder if she'd like to be my friend and stuff like that. And then I would also fancy them if I fancied them as well. But I've not really been like that with women. But I think that's because I've always just wanted to just be successful, I guess. So when I saw women who I looked up to, obviously I saw them as successful because I looked up to them and I thought that I wanted to from when I was really little. I'm talking from primary school age.
What would you say if I said to you that even as a woman or girl, wanting to be successful is also looked down on?
Yeah, it is. It is.
So if you're a woman and you're like, one day I want to be really successful and I want to be let's say, give an example, I want to be wealthy, I want to be well resourced, I want to travel, I want to be really successful, I want to be the best at what I do.
You're seen as shallow as a woman to want to do that. Like, I remember when I was little, I always wanted to be a musician, and I think one time I said, oh, I'd love to just be a famous musician, and I think a family member was like, you shouldn't say that you want to be famous because that's really shallow. But it wasn't that. It's just I wanted people to hear my music. The more people hear your music, the more people enjoy it. The more successful you are.
Yeah.
Whereas when it's a boy, people don't think about them like that. No. When a little boy's like, I want to be a famous drummer.
Or a famous footballer.
Yeah. And no one's like, that's actually really shallow.
It's a bit shallow, isn't it?
Whereas people said that to me when I was a kid, and it just puts you off, and you're like, oh, okay, maybe I shouldn't be.
I think I was always made to feel when I was younger that wanting to be amazing at something or wanting to be a success meant that you were really self-absorbed. Do you know what I mean? Sorry, we're just grabbing another bottle of wine.
We've not drank a whole bottle. We've been quite good. The other bottle has lasted us 3 different occasions.
Oh, really? Let me hold your glass. Am I also holding the mic?
You hold the mic.
Yeah.
Mike Wazowski.
That's your sound effect.
Yeah, that's the sound effect that I've not been doing very often.
What are you opening?
This is Wolf Blass Vineyards.
Is that how you pronounce that?
BLASS.
Yeah, no, I wasn't criticising. I actually...
Wolf Blass.
Yeah, I actually asked that question genuinely.
Southeastern Australia, so it's... No, I'm not going to do an
please
Australian
don't.
accent.
Oh my shitting God, no.
Wait, I thought it was going to have a cork in it then.
No, don't be stupid. We don't drink no cork shit. It's all got a screw
smell
top.
That. It smells fishy.
That's not good. Just pour it.
Do you think it does? Do you think
it can't...
fish?
No, baby.
Australians, if you listen. Oh, what do you put in your wine? That smells horrible. Smell it.
Just say it. Don't. You just... Babe, I don't know what you can smell out of
I'll
that
just
bottle.
Drink it.
It just smells like Shiraz.
Just a little one. Yeah, no, that don't smell good.
Does it not?
If this
It
is the
can't
last
smell.
episode of the Wandering Women podcast...
Yeah, you know why.
It's because that wine's poisoned.
It can't smell like...
Do it for the
like,
wine
like
instead of
the
do it
sea,
for the vine.
Like the sea one that we got.
Oh yeah, I remember the sea one. There we go. Sorry, I wanted to take my dressing gown off. I was too hot.
Okay, so do you think there are any successful women who aren't hated?
No.
Not. Can you think of any?
Mother Teresa.
Mother Teresa. Mother Teresa was hated at the time, though, wasn't she?
Oh, was she? I
She
don't
was
know.
opposed and like belittled, and like she only, like many women. I think. Well, no, hang on a minute. There was a lot of women that literally saw her as a saint, but
Princess Diana.
that was because she was in a nurturing role. So she was sort of like. Did you just say Princess Diana, Jamie?
And then
you
I
regretted
remembered
it.
what happened to her. Right, I'm not laughing about this. It's just that I thought, just that everybody loved Princess Diana. Everybody loved her.
Except her family.
Except the Queen.
Yeah.
Oh, Lizzie.
But I think her success was hated because she had a different form of success. So obviously she was in the royal family, and you could go, well, she's successful then. But it was actually more about the fact that she connected with the public, and that was the success people hated. Was
Yeah.
that she was so relatable and so like involved in charitable work and quite sort of the grassroots type stuff. That she really cared about, and then that was what got people's backs up.
Yeah, I
Was
agree.
the sort of relating to the public and you know, working class issues and things like that, and oppression and discrimination and stuff, and like obviously then she became hated. I'm trying to think, are there any successful women who aren't hated?
I honestly don't think that there are.
What about women who completely completely conform to gender role stereotypes?
Yeah, but if you completely conform to gender role stereotypes, you won't be hated, will you?
That's what I'm trying to get at, though. So they could be successful. So what if they're a model or a porn actress?
Yeah, but people still hate them. Like, oh, she's a slag.
Yeah, no, okay, fine.
And then other people are jealous of them.
I'm trying to think of a woman that is like a really successful woman who's not hated, but it's impossible. I can't think of a single one. If you're listening to this and you can think of an example, you should tweet us.
Yeah.
Because
Please.
I'm lost.
Please.
Can you think of any?
Every time I think of one, you think of the backlash, like where they get the backlash from.
I know, I was just thinking of a woman that like really conforms to gender role stereotypes. And I know this is awful, and I don't mean this to sound critical, because I'm not, but I was thinking of like female cooks and chefs, like celebrity chefs like Nigella Lawson, where they're like feminine, they cook, they're in the fucking kitchen and people are filming them while they're sort of fulfilling all of these traditional conservative roles of being a woman, and she gets some fucking shit, she does, doesn't she?
Yeah, but it's because she's attractive.
Yeah, I know. I was just, cause that's what I mean, is that you think of an example in your head and then you go, oh no, she is hated. Actually.
But like she gets a lot of like sexualized abuse.
She gets like, I've seen the type of abuse that Nigella Lawson gets, and it's like this mixture between she's curvy and sexy, she's a slag, why is she on the TV, why does she get her tits out while she's cooking, and then the other side where people are going, she's fat, she's put weight on, why does she keep eating stuff on the show?
Oh, I know, yeah.
Oh my god.
For fuck's sake.
Fucking hell, man.
I think she looks great.
I used to know someone who said never trust a Finn chef.
Yeah, the food's probably shit.
I can't believe I just said that. Okay.
Do you remember when she did cocaine and it was all over the news? Like, as if
Yes,
half the Tory
I
party aren't on
do.
cocaine.
Fucking half. That's a bit.
I know, yeah.
generous,
That's
isn't it?
conservative. It's a joke like the Conservative Party.
Fucking hell.
Fire.
Okay, I've got another one for you. What is our issue with women being well paid? So not just successful, but like earning money.
Well, with like being well paid comes a lot of other things that are like gender non-conforming, like being self-sufficient, being proud, owning your own things,
being able to buy your own shit,
yeah,
not needing anybody.
People see it as showing off because you can buy your own stuff. Like, oh, why have you bought that? That's disgusting. You should be donating it to charity. If you were a real woman, you donate it to charity. If you really cared about your work, you donate it to charity.
Oh my god, honestly.
So that's why people don't
like
well-paid women.
Close, Jamie.
Well, I'm not just thinking about that, but like loads of women, like how many women in the public eye are there who earn money, but then also they might care about like social causes, and like why aren't you giving all your money to charity? Like Ellie Goulding, who she earns obviously money because she's a great musician, but she also does loads of work for like environmental charities and animal charities, and like why don't you just give all your money to them? Because she wants to, like, she doesn't fucking have to. She's worked hard for that money. She's come from nothing.
I know.
But even if she hadn't, she still worked for that money. She doesn't have to give it to charitable causes. The same as any woman. If you were earning money, you're not asking that of men.
No, I know. It never comes up for men at all. And so it made me think about the woman that I know so she's a woman that worked in, let's say, like a HR sort of PR type role over a period of time. And then eventually she was like, do you know what? I could set something up myself and do better on my own. And that's precisely what she's done. And over a period of time, she's built her social media. She's gone on to like doing this type of like marketing and PR type work. And sort of content writing type work, and she put up a post. She's a personal friend of mine, and she put up a post to her friends and family being like, I can't believe it. 2 years ago, I was really struggling. I was on like 0-hour contracts. I was like doing like really, sort of in between jobs and doing temp contracts and shit. And then I decided to set my own shit up and work my arse off, and I've been working like 80-hour weeks and all the rest of it. And she put on her Facebook that she'd done her books and she'd earned 6 figures. That's right? Amazing. In the 2nd year of operation, right? I was like, fuck me, that's some good going. Do you know what I mean? That's amazing. And the shit she got for that. She actually told me that she's lost friends, she's lost family. Like, people have unfriended her over that. And I was just like, why? How does her success impact you as a person?
But why wouldn't you just be like when I see my friends do well, or anyone, even people who I don't know, who I just have on like social media, I think, wow, and it makes me inspired.
Yeah, I know.
I never feel like exactly. Yeah, it motivates me because I think, wow, like I've come from the same town as them. Like I bet I'd be able to do, like I bet I'd be able to do well or whatever. It never I never think. But I don't know what they think, to be honest.
I think it upset me because I watched her work for that. I've watched her build that. And, I've had her on my social media now for the entirety of her setting up self-employed. And I have watched her build and build and build, her skills, her network, her offerings, and like really put time and effort into this. She has worked her arse off and she deserves every fucking penny of that. Like, and it's so weird that people would be so funny with her that they've actually taken her off their social. These are friends and family that have gone, do you know what, fuck off, and unfriended, right? And so I'm not. And it reminds me of, there's 2 or 3 women who I counted as friends who have been really funny with me, and have messaged me personally to be like, oh, I'm sorry, I've had to unfriend you because it just pisses me off that you've done really well, and it's just doing my head in, and it's affecting me to see it all the time, and I hope you understand, but I just don't want to be your friend anymore. And that's really fucking hard. I ain't fucking done nothing to these people. Like, these women that I've been friends with for years, 2 of which I went to university with, and it's a bit of a shock because you don't really know what to say. Like, I responded to both of them like, oh, okay, sorry. What am I supposed to say? Because it's not a personal attack. They didn't ever say, Jess, you said this to me and it really upset me, or, like, oh, you put this post up, it was really offensive. Both of them, I'm thinking of like 2 in particular that messaged me and like explained that to me, and they were like, I actually, one of them said it in the moment and got rid of me and was like, this is why I'm getting rid of you, because I can't stand to see all the stuff you're posting up about your book and resources and stuff, and it's annoying me. And then another, no, actually it was 3, and then 2 other women contacted me in retrospect and was like, I'm really sorry that I blocked you and unfriended you like 7 months ago or a year ago because, and you know, I just feel like I owe you an explanation. And it was because I can't stand to see you like doing well and posting about like just all your achievements and projects and stuff. And like every single time that happened, it just felt like a massive kick because I was like, oh, because like I've hurt people and I didn't even like, but not through doing anything.
Yeah.
How do you? What
Do
do
you
you
know-
say to that?
Do you know what I think as well? People, if you were to say, I earn £10 an hour and I work like 16 hours every day, right? And then you earn, I don't know what that is, like.
It's a fucking lot. It comes out at about what, 600-700 quid a week before tax, maybe more, maybe nearly 800.
Yeah, but if you were to say like, oh yeah, I work, you know, it's more than that. If you were to say like you do that, then people would be like, oh, do you know, yeah, you worked really hard for that money. But if you are in a different sort of job, even if you work the same hours, but you're just not on like hourly rate sort of thing, and like you have to find ways to make the money yourself, like bid writing or, you know, selling things that you've made, or, you know, like with book deals or music deals or whatever, people are much more uncomfortable with that.
Yeah. Maybe it's because it doesn't feel like graft to them, even though you are grafting. And I think lots of people who'll be listening are self-employed, and you know what self-employed graft is like. It's fucking tough, man.
Yeah.
You never get a day off.
Yeah, exactly.
There's no shifts in self-employment.
But I think that, like, it's quite daunting for people to be like, oh, do you know what, I'm going to go out, I'm going to do this on my own. And there is a possibility that you can earn a lot more and be much more successful and make more impact.
Absolutely.
It's not just about earning more, it's about how much impact you make.
It's a huge risk when you do it.
Yeah, but it's a huge risk, so a lot of people don't do it and they feel very... I think a lot of people feel like when another woman is doing well, it feels like a personal attack on them, because they feel like it's a reflection that they haven't done as well.
I think there's definitely women around me that feel like that.
But men as well, because...
well, yeah, I think it's a different conversation with men, because then you've got to bring in things like misogyny and patriarchy and their own
Well, I think it's in the same...
Well,
there are
between
patriarchal
two
issues.
women.
Like, men don't... Well, maybe men do.
But men, I think, have more male entitlement, where they just expect to be more successful than you because they're a fucking man. Yeah. Whereas a woman wouldn't expect to be more successful than you on the virtue of her being a woman. But like men expect to be more intelligent than you, more capable than you, and earning more money than you. And
I just want to say this wine is shit.
Is it?
It tastes disgusting. I'm going to drink it though. I don't waste wine. I'm not a wine waster. What?
I am.
What did you just call me?
I called you a legend, babe.
Oh, I thought you called me a virgin.
Why would I call you that?
I don't know.
That would be a very strange thing to call you, wouldn't it?
It's true.
Well, yeah, there is that. Okay. Not bad. Why do we expect women to work for free? It's the opposite of that question.
Why do we expect women to work for free, Jess?
Fucking misogyny and sexism, yeah. I would say.
Well, it's because women are supposed to be caring, they're supposed to like care about the good of the company, and like a lot of women's jobs do tend to be seen as more compassionate. Like even say like Michelle Obama. So even though a male prime minister would never be expected, I'm like talking this country, would never be expected to work for free. If it's a female, like, oh, you should be doing it for the good of the country.
Oh my God, I know.
And it can be literally like even a role that's as masculine as like being masculine. I say that like because it's mainly men. As running a country, men would never be expected to do it free. But when it's a woman, it's like, oh well, like she shouldn't be she shouldn't be getting paid.
Cares about people.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
You should be doing it because you care, and like yeah, you should. But like, there's a reason that we use this argument about one sex and not the other.
Yeah, and you know what? Right, I know you just used that about like prime minister roles, but like women get thrown so that gets thrown at women of like all levels. So psychologists, therapists. women working in activism and feminism and like, you know, domestic
Carers.
violence. Yeah, carers and women working in the criminal justice system. It's sort of like, if you really care about these people that you claim to want to help, then why won't you just do it for free?
Yeah.
It's like, well, why don't you just fuck off?
But, like, I think if you were to, like, I don't think many women would ask their bosses for, like, a pay increase, whereas I think men would.
Yeah, no, that's well, I think there's research that backs that up, actually.
Yeah.
So men are more likely to actually push for promotions
And say, like, yeah, I was
pay
wondering if there's
increases.
any promotions, whereas women are like, oh, I'm just like, even if they're
Just
not
happy to be here.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I actually remember my first job, and I was just working, and then they were like, and I didn't ask about when I got paid or how I got paid or anything, and it was like a couple of weeks, like, Jamie, how come you haven't picked up your pay packet? And I was like, oh, no one told me how I did it, and I thought it would be really rude of me
to ask for your money.
for my money.
Oh
And
my
I was
god,
working
yeah.
as a fucking waitress.
Oh my god, that's so fucking true.
And like one of the girls, like the older girls working there, like, oh no, we just work for free.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, you know, I was like 15, like I just don't want to get sacked.
It reminds me of, I think I was 26.
You almost
or
forget
something.
why you're there.
Yeah, you do. You get like wrapped into the actual role and doing a good job, and not about the fact that you're actually there to earn money so you can live.
So you can live, yeah.
It reminds me of, when I was like 25 or 26, and basically what happened was I got taken on in a managerial position, and then I realised very quickly that the work I was doing was above that job description, and there was more responsibility than that was written in that job description. I was managing more staff that was in that job description. Now, I'm actually quite brazen about money, and I have been since I was younger. I feel quite strongly about, you know, being paid correctly and expecting to be paid for the work that we do as women. And I won't make any apologies for that at all. And I just arranged a meeting with the CEO and was like, I think that you either need to take these responsibilities off me or give me a pay rise.
Yeah.
And honestly, the shock on their face. And I was just not remotely interested in their emotions around that. I just was like, I'm working more than what I've agreed.
Yeah.
So you either pay me more or I will stop doing it.
Yeah.
I even had that recently in the job that I left in lockdown. So I was working in in academia, and in academia, like, I didn't even apply for that job. I was headhunted for it, and I took it, and I went and worked in academia for a year, and I made it very clear that I run my own company and that I'm not going to be sucked into academia where I have to work fucking 90 hours a week and get paid for 37 and all that shit. You know, I'm not doing it. It's not fair. It's exploitation. And when it started creeping, I was given more and more workloads, and I was like, look, we've discussed this. Like, no, that's not happening. That was when shit started getting really awkward, because I think they just expected me to just do it for free. Like, I was supposed to just carry on. And I was like, look, no, I'm sorry, I don't work like that. I will work, and then you'll pay me, and if you're not going to pay me for it, I'm not going to do it.
Yeah.
And people aren't prepared for women to behave like that. People, I would say also, people are very...
Even though you're a senior, it and you were doing way more work than the actual hours that you were contracted to do. And they knew that they were giving you more hours.
Yeah, definitely.
But they expected you to not care.
Yeah.
And that's you. Like, that's someone like you as well. Who, you know...
And there were definitely other women in that department that spoke to me on the quiet and were definitely being exploited as women, whereas the men weren't. And this is why the issues around gender pay gap, I feel so strongly about. And I really hate it when people claim, oh, it doesn't even exist and it's bullshit. You want to go? You want to think? You think it's bullshit?
To a university.
Go to a fucking university and go work in a university, and you fucking tell me whether the lecturers, senior lecturers, readers, and assistant professors and professors, male or female, whether they're on the same fucking wages and whether they're being treated the same, because it is a whole different world.
Yeah,
it's so patriarchal in those environments. You can get female professors that are literally at the top of their game on 17 grand less than male professors that are doing fuck all.
Yeah. At University of Birmingham, we had in the whole of my department, which was thousands of people, the whole of government and society, we had one female Asian, as in, like, she was, I think she was Pakistani.
Yeah.
I never actually met her. But there was no...
Sure she wasn't a myth?
Well, I know,
the
right?
university made up.
And, like everyone else was white, but there was just one female Asian. She wasn't professor. She was just...
she a lecturer?
She was a lecturer. No, she wasn't. She was just a lecturer. And because she was the only one, she ended up having to resign because all of the students felt like all of the students wanted her to, like, be their mentor and stuff.
Yes, you told me about her. And didn't she end up basically like everybody's support human?
Literally, that's exactly what it was.
Yeah,
'cause there was I think there was about 3 female professors in the whole department, and maybe 2 female professors, 2 lecturers, and she was the only one who was not white.
Yeah.
And she just got put as everyone's, like, support human, and the university the university didn't support her. She kept raising it. There was one other female professor who tried to support her, but she couldn't do anything because she was also female, and the university didn't support her, and she had to resign because she didn't have the time.
I'm so glad she resigned, though, as like an act of, like, do you know what? No. Because that is the most powerful thing. It's the most powerful thing you can do. Well, yes, I know, but, like, I do think... So there's research that backs up that when female academics, even in a department where they're, like, professors or they're in senior positions, even in management and leadership in academia, they are still likely to be used for things like student support or, like, timetabling the meetings, like they're somebody's fucking PA.
Yeah.
Like, it's so common. And, like, I can't remember where I read this research. I think it might have been around the Athena Swan stuff, because there's the Athena Swan is an award that's given to universities where there's good sex equality. And, yeah, basically it's a fucking shit show of universities all trying to scramble to, make out that they're equal. But it's so interesting reading the research that exists around it.
Yeah.
Because it's not just about pay gap and about money. It's actually about what women are expected to do for their salaries that men aren't.
Yeah.
And then the last question that was on here was about being humble.
Yeah, why are women expected to be humble
about their success.
Yeah.
Like, it's almost like you're not supposed to say you're successul.
You're not supposed to be successul.
Yeah.
So the fact that you are means that
you're not supposed to talk about it ever.
It's like, you've been given this privilege, you shouldn't really have it, so, don't go shouting about it.
Yeah. Or that if you do talk about it, it's because you're being, like,
big-headed,
like malicious. You're doing it to, like, rub other people's faces or something.
Yeah.
And I just don't think men get treated like that. I think when
it's the same as, like,
men
like,
are successful,
assertive women are called bossy.
Yeah, it's the same thing.
Successful women are called big-headed.
Yeah, so true. And then people will claim that you're, like, sort of, you don't deserve the money, or that you haven't worked for it, or that you're profiting from something, or you're exploiting something, and or that you just shouldn't talk about it. There's a lot of that goes on where it's like, well,
people don't
you
even
shouldn't be talking
recognise.
about it.
People don't even recognise that they're holding a bias.
No, I know.
That's the thing. They don't even realise it.
And then they take that bias out on that woman, who then is like, oh, and then she feels guilty or ashamed about the fact that she's worked hard or done well or ended up with money somehow, or it's really hard because,
like, she thinks she's so good.
Oh, I know. Oh, she loves herself.
Yeah.
And do you know what I find hardest, like, watching women being treated like that, is that I find it's the same fucking people that drag on women that aren't doing well.
Yeah.
Are the same ones that drag on the women that are doing well. So they're like, oh, she's fucking loser. She's a nothing. Oh, she's a benefit fraud. Oh, she's a single mum. Oh, she's never done anything with her life. She just works 0-hour contracts. They're the same fucking women, the same fucking people
Everyone is close to being on a 0-hour contract.
That are going at the successful women being like, oh, she fucking loves herself. Why is she talking about herself again? And you're like, what the fuck, man? So you want the women in poverty to do well and get a job, and then when they do well and get a job, you hate them. You can't win. You can't win as a woman. It's a fucking nightmare.
I wish we had more time. I've got like so much more that we could say on this, but as usual, we can't fit everything in. So
and we have to behave and stick to the time.
Yeah. Right. Hope you enjoyed it.
Look after yourselves and be successful.